Right, Shalom, giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahawa, Bahashem Yahawashi, Bahashem Yahawashi. Double honors to the elders and apostles, a great millstone that rule well, and Shalom to you, Akim, that be pushing this word around the globe in faith and in truth with sincerity. As always, I start by saying that we are the real Hebrew Israelites. The real Israelites, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Hispanics, Native Americans, West Africans, and West Indians, predominantly. However, you are going to get Israelites that may look like the other 17 nations, because Israel has been scattered amongst all people throughout our various captivities. So you're going to get Israelites looking like every nation. However, if your seed line by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible named Israel, then you too are an Israelite, because pertaining to Numbers chapter 1 and verse 18, your nationality is determined by the lineage of your forefathers. So as I said, it doesn't matter what you look like now. If your lineage by your forefathers goes back to the man in the Bible, then you are an Israelite by nationality. However, this is all through the Spirit. But the point is that you can't just look at someone and just assume, oh, that's an Edomite, or oh, that's a Moabite. It's all through the Spirit, yeah? So I want to get into the topic of today's lesson. And on the screen here, you can see the poster for the film called The Golden Child. It's an Eddie Murphy film. Now, I think I watched this film when it first came out in the cinema back around 1986. I've been blessed with a very good memory, thankfully, for the most part. So I can remember all kinds of cool and interesting stuff from, my childhood and this, that, and the other. And so when I was a child, my mum used to take me to the cinema a lot. So I used to watch a hell of a lot of films. And I remember this one in particular because at the time it was promoted as being a sort of comedy film. Because Eddie Murphy obviously is a very, very funny Jake. Very charismatic, and at the time he was in his heyday, innit? So this new Murphy film came out, and everybody was like, oh, Eddie Murphy's funny, it'll be a comedy, this, that, and the other. But I remember when I was watching this film as a child, it's like, yeah, when I was watching this film as a child in the cinema, there were many scenes which struck me as being very interesting, and they just sort of stuck with me. And obviously now I'm a lot older, and now that I'm very well versed in the Bible and the Holy Scriptures, I'm able to look at these things with a very discerning eye, and I can spot elements of truth that were hidden in plain sight in a lot of these films. Lord willing, I'll go into a number of them and do some hopefully edifying videos on pointing some of this stuff out and showing stuff. So basically, let me just give you a brief synopsis of what this film is about before I go into a little breakdown on one of the scenes. This film is basically about Eddie Murphy, who plays a character who is a private detective, and he specializes in dealing with cases of missing children. Now, in the storyline of this film, there is one particular child which is supposed to be like, the golden child, and it's the child that was prophesied to bring peace on earth and harmony amongst mankind. On this stuff is, supposedly this special child which is going to grow up to do all these things, yeah? However, this child gets kidnapped, and Eddie Murphy takes the case to try and find this child. And in taking on this case, he gets basically involved with spiritual elements, which he wasn't really a believer in when the film starts. But over the course of the film, he realized that, okay, this is a spiritual element, and that there are demons who are working on the left-hand side trying to kill this golden child. Very cool film, very entertaining. Great stop motion animation as well. If you're into stop motion, I like special effects and stuff like that. It's very cool. But there's another key scene which I was looking for on YouTube, but I couldn't find it. But one of the scenes in the film is that in order to try and defile the golden child, there's something that the villains in the film do. And what they try and do is try and get the golden child to consume human blood. Now, as we know, you're not supposed to consume blood, for blood is the life. That's in Genesis 9. Let me quickly get that for edification's sake. Lord willing. You're not supposed to consume blood, neither of men or animals. So this is Genesis 9. Yeah, Genesis 9 and 4. Let me read into it. Genesis 9 and 1. And the Most High blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that move upon the earth, upon all the fishes of the sea, into your hand they are delivered. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you, even as the green herb have I given you all things. Here's the point, Genesis 9:4. But the flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. And surely your blood of your lives I will require at your hand of every beast. I will require it, and at the hand of man, at the hand of every man's brother, will I require the life of man. Whoso sheddeth man's blood by man, shall his blood be shed. For the image of the Most High, for in the image of the Most High he made man. Basically, blood is very sacred, and you're not supposed to consume it. However, we know that Esau and his elites, they on the left-hand side, they consume human blood on a regular basis. Now, this is something that most people would have a hard time believing, but Esau's normalized blood drinking to the point where most people don't even notice that it's ingesting blood. For example, it's very common at hospitals for them to give people blood transfusions. Like, God forbid, say you're walking down the road and you get struck by a car. They drag you into the hospital on a stretcher and they're saying, oh, we need blood, he's losing a lot of blood. What do? They get a blood pack, inject you in your arm and start plumping blood into your body. Now, is that drinking blood? Yes, because you're ingesting someone else's blood into your body. Yeah, you may not be taking it through your mouth orally, but you're still taking another man's blood into your system. So is that lawful? No, it's going off. Now, obviously, we can't keep the law 100% perfectly, and there's going to be situations where maybe, let's say you were out and you did get hit by a car and you was out of it. You're unconscious and then you wake up in the hospital and then you found that they've given you a blood transfusion. What can you do? In that position, you can't really fight your way out of the hospital because you're probably, broken up if you've been hit by a car. So it's one of those things where you just have to pray to the Lord to be with you. In this captivity, we can't keep the laws 100%. But obviously, if you do have a choice, I would advise against taking blood transfusions. Furthermore, you're not even supposed to be having any injections anyway, because it's you're not supposed to make any cuttings in your flesh. Let me just get that for edification's sake. All right, this is the book of Leviticus, chapter 21, verse 5. Let me jump to that. All right, this is Leviticus 21:5. It says, they shall not make baldness upon their head, neither shall I shave off the corner of their beard, nor make any cuttings in their flesh. So it's actually against the law to have injections. But again, if you're in a situation where you've got no control of it, you have to do what you have to do. Anyway, getting back to the main topic of this lesson, the film The Golden Child, and the thing I want to point out. So as I was saying, in this film, they're trying to get the golden child to consume human blood. Now what they do is they hide it in some porridge, and they got this blood from other child sacrifices in the film. Very deep storyline when you really look at it with a critical eye. So basically they were kidnapping other children, slaughtering them, taking their blood, mingling it in with this porridge, and trying to feed it to the golden child to defile the golden child. However, the golden child didn't eat it. Now, I don't want to ruin the film, but you know what I mean? It's just one of the things that's shown in this film. Now, there's a very important point I want to make of truth being hidden in plain sight in this film. So what you do is, if we go to, back a bit. This is the IMDb page for this film. As you can see, it came out in 1986. I remember watching it in the cinema, so that was a good few years ago when I was a child myself. So let's go to the full cast. So here you have the cast of the film, and obviously Eddie Murphy's in the title role because he plays the lead character. Now pay attention to his name. His name in the film is Chandler Jarrell. Yeah, Chandler Jarrell. Now the reason why I'm pointing this out is because this goes into the topic of the true name of the Lord. Because we are fortunate in that now that we've come to this truth and we've been woken up to our heritage, we've come back to an understanding of the Lashon Kodash, which is the Hebrew language, which is the holy tongue. Now, as we know, in the Hebrew there are no J's, yeah? So when it comes to saying the name of the Lord and the name of his Son, while most of the world thinks the name of the Lord, the Most High, is Jehovah, we know through truth that there are no J's in the Hebrew language, so therefore Jehovah is not the Lord's name. His true name is Yahawa, with a Y, Yahawa, yeah? And his son name, the one that the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, his true name is Yahawashi, yeah? Because there's no J. That sound in the Hebrew would be the Ya, yeah, the Y-A, Ya. So let me quickly get First Ezra's, Sirach 1, Slakia, on the power of the Hebrew tongue. Let me get this. Now, I'm not an expert in the Hebrew. I just know, the basic stuff. There's some brothers who are very, well skilled in the Hebrew, but if the Lord wills it for me to become more skilled, then I'd be grateful for that, but I have to be grateful for the little I do know. So this is the prologue of Sirach. I'm just going to read this because I want to go into the importance of the Hebrew language. This is Sirach 1:1. The prologue of the wisdom of, it says Jesus, but it would be Yahawashi, the son of Sirach. Whereas many and great things have been delivered unto us by the law and the prophets, and by others that have followed their steps. For the which things Israel ought to be commended for learning and wisdom, and whereof not only the readers must needs become skillful themselves, but also they that desire to learn be able to profit them which are without, both by speaking and writing. My grandfather Yahawashi, when he had much given himself to the reading of the law and the prophets and other books of our fathers, and had gotten therein a good judgment, was drawn on also himself to write something pertaining to learning and wisdom, to the intent that those that are desirous to learn and are addicted to these things might profit much more in living according to the law. Wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favour and attention, and to pardon us, here's the point, yeah, and to pardon us wherein we seem to come short of some words which we have laboured to interpret. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. Now let me read this again, because that's the key point I wanted to get. Wherefore let me entreat you to read it with favour and attention, and to pardon us wherein we may seem to come short of some words which we have laboured to interpret. For the same things uttered in Hebrew and translated into another tongue have not the same force in them. And not only these things, but the law itself and the prophets and the rest of the books have no small difference when they are spoken in their own language. So the Hebrew tongue is the most powerful. That's why when we pray, we try to pray in the Hebrew. The Lord's Prayer, is it Matthew 5? Let me just jump there. Is it Matthew 6? Yes, it's Matthew 6. After this manner pray ye. This is Matthew 6:9. It says, after this manner therefore pray ye, say, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in heaven as it is in earth as it is in heaven. Give us our daily bread and forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. See, this is the Lord's Prayer, and I was taught this when I was a very small child, so I kind of always knew it. But when you say it in the Lashon Kodash, which is the Hebrew language, you'd say, rather than Our Father which art in heaven, you'd say Abba Nawa, Shabba Shemayim, Kodash, Haya Shamka Yahawa, Malakwathka, Thaba'a, Matazaka, Haya Isha Barataza Kawa, Haya Bashamayam, Thananawa, Laham, Kayawam, Wasalachanawa, Hawabathnawa, Kasalachanawa, Hawabathanawa, Wala'a Thabayanawa, Banasayawan, Abel, Hawashainawa, Mayanwai, Kayalaka, Hamalakwath, Waha Allah, Wahathaparath, Lawalam Yam Aman. So that would be the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew tongue. And if you can learn that prayer, I would advise you to do it because it's much more powerful when you pray in the Hebrew. So let me get back to my point. My point being that the Lord's true name is Yahawa, which means he is or he to be. And his son's name is Yahawashi, which means he saves or he delivers. Yeah? Those are the true names of the ones that the world ignorantly calls God and Jesus or Jehovah and Yeshua. Those aren't the names. The true names are Yahawa and Yahawashi. Now, let me get back to this topic of the film, The Golden Child. So, what I was saying is Eddie Murphy's character in this film is called Chandler Jarrell. That's his name. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up a scene from the film. I managed to find it on YouTube here. And pay close attention to what is being said in this scene, because the villain character, who was played by Charles Dance, keeps calling him Yarold rather than Gerald. As I said, his name in the film is supposed to be Jarrell with a J, but the enemy keeps calling him Mr. Yarrow with a Y. And this is an example of these film directors and these scriptwriters knowing the truth, knowing that the letter J is not a real sound, and it was invented in the 1600s, I believe. It's one of the most recent letters or characters to be added to the English alphabet. So really, it should be the Yah sound. Yeah? Let me play this clip and then I'll get into it. Hopefully I don't get a copyright strike with me.
Good to see you, Mr. Yarrow.
Did you hear that? He called him Yarrow. He said, "It's good to see you, Mr. Yarrow, not Jarrow." Let me rewind that quickly.
It's good to see you, Mr. Yarrow.
Get your monkey off my back.
Of course. Fu, please, retire.
Yeah, fool, save it. Wait a second. This is a dream. I'm dreaming. Hey.
Why'd you say that, Mr. Yarrow?
Because people like Fu with his monkey face and the big head guy and the fat dude and you don't exist for real. This is a dream.
Perhaps I've had you brought here to make you a very attractive offer.
Well, I don't think I can accept a proposal this early in the season. Thank you.
Has it ever occurred to you how many men of less worth than yourself obtain so many of life's rewards, while you, who can imagine so much, have so very little?
I can't say that it has. I'm not that lucky. I don't have that much of imagination.
I really don't like your attitude.
You know, this is a nice jacket. It's a Morris Day feel, and it looks good on you in the boots. It's smoking.
I'll repeat my offer one last time.
Well, I am dreaming, so I can pretty much say anything and get away with it. So, I think I'll say, from my heart, kiss my ass. Kiss my ass!
I can see that it's pointless talking to you, Mr. Yarrow.
Why do you insist on mispronouncing my name, leaving the J silent? My name is Gerald with a J.
Yes, I know.
Did you hear that? It says, "Why do you insist on mispronouncing my name? My name is Gerald with a J." And the villain goes, "Yes, I know." Let me rewind that, in case you didn't catch it. Very subtle thing. Truth hidden in plain sight.
From my heart, Kiss my ass. Kiss my ass!
I can see that it's pointless talking to you, Mr. Yarrow.
Why do you insist on mispronouncing my name, leaving the J silent? My name is Gerald with a J.
Yes, I know.
So there we have it. That's some truth hidden in plain sight for you there, because that is a very subtle thing to have been hidden in the film. As I said, the character's name is called Chandler Jarrell, but the villain kept pronouncing his name as Yarrow. Now, I forgot to point something out. The star of the film obviously is Eddie Murphy, but he's considered the chosen one because the prophecy said he's the one who's going to save the golden child. And the savior is actually a Jake in this film, which is very interesting. There's also another little subtle hint there where the villain says to him, have you never considered why so many men who are not as great as you have so much while you have so little? Now that's a great example of how the elect are going to be in this lifetime. You know, the scriptures say it's a very hard thing for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of heaven. And so most of us in this truth are going to be experiencing adversity and hard times. You know, obviously you might have some brothers who do have some wealth, because there were men who did have wealth in the scriptures. You know, Abraham had wealth, Job had wealth. There's a number of other people in the scriptures. There's Joseph of Arimathea, if I'm saying that correctly, the one who asked if he could bury the body of Yahawashi after the crucifixion. There were wealthy men in the scriptures who were in the truth, but for the most part, you know, we're not going to be balling in this lifetime. Now, let me get a scripture going into the names. Hold on. I want to get Proverbs 30 and verse 4. This is the book of Proverbs chapter 30 and verse 4. And this is a kind of like a rhetorical question. It says, "Who hath ascended up into heaven or descended? And who hath gathered the wind in his fists? Who hath bound the waters in a garment? Who hath established all the ends of the earth? What is his name, and what is his son's name, if thou canst tell?" So, you know, as we are in this truth, we know the true names to be Yahawa and Yahawashi. Or in Hebrew, that be Yahawa and Yahawashi. It ain't no Jesus. It ain't no Jehovah. There are no J's in the Hebrew language. So, Lord willing, I've made my point about how the truth is hidden in plain sight in some of these films, and the script writers and the directors, they know this truth. They know the Holy Bible. Most of them, I mean, all of the best stories come from the Bible anyway, but, you know, when you get into Hollywood, you need to have a certain understanding to be up there as a script writer and being successful, because none of this is for fun. It's all truth hidden in plain sight, be it on the left hand or the right hand side. So there's hidden messages in everything. So with that, I want to give all praise and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Rahakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well. Shalom to we elect our king, that we pushing this word in faith, in truth, and in sincerity. I hope this lesson has been edifying, and hopefully, hope the Lord doesn't give me a copyright strike for putting this video up. But if it is, if that happens, then it happens. But, you know, the word has to go out. So once again, giving all praise and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahawashi, Ba'ashem Rahakodash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that rule well, and shalom to you, Akim. Till the next lesson, shalom.